Okay, since we started, so let me share my screen. So till now, what we have seen it, we have seen the business rules, client scripts, and the script includes email notifications from the event workflows. There is a lot of other things we'll do. But here, whenever the user is logged in, we need to fetch the logged user info. So for that, we have a two functions, which is for the client side and which is for the server side. So I'm just opening the screen. So gs is nothing but which is a method which can be fetch the logged user details for the script. Which means, for example, you want to check the who is the logged user. For example, so for this one we can use a server side and the client side. But client side, that's a different story, so we can discuss later. But now we can come to the server side. For example, you want to check the logged user. So if you want to check the logged user, what is the first step we need to check? First, we need to fetch the logged user information. From that we can check it in the service now. If you want to fetch the logged user, we will use the gs.getUserID. gs.getUserID will be get user, sorry, will be used by, it returns a reference to the user object for the currently logged in user, which means, so whoever the logged user, we can fetch the information from the gs.getUser. So for this, the syntax is where and the variable name, and here we can write a gs.getUser. This is the first thing. And the next step, gs.getUserID by id. Id is nothing but, so you want to fetch the user id. So if you want to fetch the user id, then we will use the gs.getUser by id. That means by id we can fetch it. This is the syntax: user id by email. This gs.getUser.getUserID by email. And gs.getUsername is nothing but which returns the username of the currently logged in user. For example, if I see here, I'm just going to the system admin profile. See, for this, the username is the combination of first name and let me add the name here. So form layout. So this is the name. So that is called name. If you want to fetch that name, we can use the gs.getUser. So for this is the syntax for it. Similarly, next one, gs.getUserDisplay. So display name is nothing but which will be used to returns the display for the value for the currently logged in user. So that means what is a display name? Display name is nothing but display name also is the complete name which will be shown to the same thing. So for this there is no difference. Display name is nothing but what we are showing in the reference field. So which means for example, see here we are showing as a finance rate. This is called a display name. So what is the display name we are showing? It will fetch that information. And the next one is gs dot get user id. This is the most and very important method. gs dot get user id, gs dot get user id will fetch the sysid of the current logged user. So that means in ServiceNow, as we know, everything will be stored in a table format, and what are the record we have created, it will be stored in a whatever the it will be the unique value. That unique value we will call it as a sys ID. Here, what happens in the ServiceNow? What happens whenever the sys ID sorry, whenever we use a gs dot get user ID, which will be helpful for the fetch the current logged in user SysID. If you know SysID, we can fetch any other thing for this one. This is the first step. And the next step is get first name. Get first name is a method which can be used to fetch the current logged user first name. So gs the where variable name gs dot get user dot get first name. So it will fetch the first name. Similarly, next one similarly get last name. Get last name is a method which can be used to fetch the last name of the uh, you employee. For example, if I see open this user profile, see. So here the first name is a system administrator and the second name is the administrator. So this is the one. And the third one, get email. Get email is nothing but this is the method which can be used to fetch the current logged in user email ID, which is a gs.get email ID. That is the method we can use it. And next one is the department ID. Department ID is get department ID is nothing but get department ID is a method which can be returns the current email address. Sorry, department id is returns the department sysid of the current logged in. So in the user table every user belong to a different department. It should be one department. So what are the department? The user will fetch the sysid of the that department, so by using the get department id. So for example, if I see here the system administrator was belongs to the department called what you can say finance. So if you use that method gs dot get user dot get department id, it will fetch the sysid of the same thing. And the next one is get company id. So get company id also look like the same thing like department. Here it will fetch the sysid of the company. So for example, if I open this one, there is no company. Okay, let me add the company in this here. So here I am not sure what is this user belong to which company. So here the user is not belong to any company. So if you have any company, so I'm just making as this user is Acer, and I'm just going to save this one. So this is the one. So what are the here? So this company, whenever you use the gs dot get user id dot get company id, so it will fetch the sysid of the same company. And next one is the, so next one, get company record. Get company record is nothing but it will returns the complete record. So here the getting a sysid is a different and getting a user complete record is a different. So if you get a sysid, so we can check the sysid and we can fetch it. But if you get the complete record, what if you want to do any operations, if you want to do any other thing, we can get the same thing for it. And the next one is get language. Get language is nothing but whatever the user language we have entered, it will fetch the logged user. And get location is used to get the current sorry, logged in user location. So here if you see location is not there. Okay, let me add the location. See, this is the location. So if you go to the location, we have a different locations, it will be the same thing for it. So right now we don't have any locations in this one, so if you add any location it will come here. So this is the one. And the next one, that domain id. What is the user domain id? So for example, if any instance has a domain separation, so for example domain separation is nothing but one instance can be used for the multiple organizations. So for example, if you belong to the some xyz domain, so it will be applicable to the some xyz domain or records only. If you return in a script or something, it will execute in the same domain only. So here if you want to configure the domain, whatever the domain we want to fetch it, we can use the get domain id. It will get the sysid of the one. And domain display value domain display value is nothing but, so here for example whatever here it is showing is, this is called as a display value. If you want to fetch this display value, so we can use the get display method. And the next one is the get manager id. Get manager id is nothing but which will returns the current logged user manager sysd. So in the system everyone has a manager. So what happened, it will be, so if you want to fetch it we can use that. So for this one syntax is gs dot get user dot get manager id. And the next one is get my groups. Get my groups is nothing but returns a list of groups that currently be logged is a member of. So for example, if you are a member of 10 groups, so if you use the get my groups method, so that what happens, it will be the 10 number of groups, it will automatically fetch that information into the one variable. Next is member of is nothing but returns the true. For example, if the current user is being to a, so is member of, so what happened, if you for example if you are belong to the xyz group, if you want to check it, we can use the is member of method. This is the syntax. And has role is nothing but gs dot has role. So gs dot had role is nothing but if you want to check whether the user has the some xyz role, so that what we will do is we can we can what you can say what I can say, yeah. So for example, if you the user want to check the ITL role, we can use a gs dot has role. Okay. So this is the one. So this is the both the functions and has roles. Ha- there is a difference between has role and has roles. If it is a has role, it is a only one record for it. If it is a has roles, it will be the multiple roles. We can check it first. So this one, and these are the methods which will be executed to fetch the logged in info in the server side. As you know, right? For example, whenever if you create a script or something, what happened? Whenever if you create any script, what happened? What I can say, whenever if you are going to write in a script, you need to check uh, whether the script is executed in the server side or in the client side. So if you want to get the use logged in user info from the client's server side, we will use a gs dot get method. So that's the basic thing we can check for the resolution. Now here, if you want to get the same thing in the client level, we will use the g underscore form user, the same thing. Now I can see g here, g underscore user dot username, g underscore whenever I'm sorry. So whenever if you see any um, whenever if you see any record in the system, so if you want to sorry, if whenever if you see the script g underscore form, if you saw g underscore form, it's an object or property or a method which will be executed in the client side. Similarly, if you see g underscore user, which is a method which will be executed in the client side or in the client side method which will have executed. Now, what happened? G underscore user, user dot username, which will fetch the current logged in user. And similarly, G underscore user dot first name will fetch the first name of the current logged in user. And the second one, the next one is the G underscore user dot last name, which is the current logged in user last name. Next, user id, which will fetch the sysid of the current user. Has role, it will check whether the user is has the role or not. And the has role exactly, so true. For example, if you want to check whether the user is exactly the role, it will check the all those things. And next one is a g underscore user has roles. That means here we have seen a three roles, three methods. G underscore user dot has roles. Has role is nothing but it will check a one role. If it is has roles, it will check a multiple roles. Or if the has role exactly is nothing but the user must have the specified role. So this is the basic thing. And uh, and these are the fundamentals which is used for the G underscore methods, sorry, fetch the user method to get the all those things. Till now, what we discussed, anyone has any queries? No, no. What happened? We can execute the same thing in the client side and all the things. So, what we can do is this will execute it in the client side and the server side. So what you guys do is just check these all the functions and how you can use it one. So you can, for example, if you get in a scenario, so for example you want to check the manager is xyz or not, we can use the get user gs dot get user id dot get user dot get manager. So like that the function we can check all this stuff. So this is the main use of these are all the to fetch the logged in user. So this is the basic thing. So you got it or any confusion for this before I'm going to the next topic? Fine, I will share. Yeah, yeah, I will share you later in WhatsApp. Okay. Thank you. And I'm just